Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next round of my Ultimate Palette Battle. This is the kind of tournament that I've been doing on my channel for the last couple of months where I ultimately want to choose one favorite palette, like the winner out of this tournament. And how I've been structuring it is I have been randomizing two palettes to battle against each other, and we have already completed round 1 and round 2, so all of my palettes went through it, and then the ones that won the first round battled against each other, and now we have the remaining, I think it's 14 palettes standing. So today my goal is to get through round 3, get through those 14 palettes, which means 7 rounds, and we're gonna see which ones make it through. Before I jump into the video, first off, I have a playlist down below with the tournament with like every video that I've made in the series, so you can check that out if you haven't seen the previous episodes. And then secondly, I was loosely inspired by Is You Steph for the series, so I will have her channel linked down below as well. But before I jump into the palettes and the randomization, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So we have the wheel right here with my 14 palettes, so let's go pick the first 2. We have the Tiny Marvels palette from Sydney Grace versus the Norvina palette. So here we have those two palettes. We have the Tiny Marvels palette, which looks like this. It's one that I absolutely adore. I really love this palette. It is one of Sydney Grace's best releases ever. I really love this palette a lot. And then we have the Norvina palette, which is probably my favorite Anastasia palette. I really love the romantic undertones of this palette, and you can see that I've given this palette a lot of love too. It has a lot of pans in it. Even though I, of course, love both these palettes because they have made it through to round 3, for me, there's still going to be a clear winner. And despite me absolutely adoring this palette here, it is older, and compared to the Tiny Marvels palette, it does not stand a chance. Again, it is absolutely one of my absolute favorite palettes in my collection. So for the first 2 palettes, this one here is going to be the favorite. So this one is going to proceed, and the Norvina palette is unfortunately being eliminated. We're going to roll the next 2 palettes, so let's see what we get. The Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos, had a brain fart there for a second, versus the Bronze Seduction palette from Pat McGrath. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. So here we have those 2 palettes, and this is more of a difficult round, I would say. This is the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette. It is stunning. It has some more colorful shades, but some absolutely beautiful sparkly shades. This one is also discontinued, by the way, but yeah, this is the first palette. Then we have the Bronze Seduction palette, which looks like this. It is Pat McGrath. It's beautiful formula. It is more of a smoky, kind of warm, rich color story with some special shades at the bottom, with some kind of green undertones as well as some rosier undertones. Well, not rosier maybe, but rose gold. That's one of my favorite shades ever, actually. But yeah, here we have the 2 palettes, and this one is quite difficult. I love both of these palettes almost equally. None of them are my favorite palette in my collection, but I also could not see myself living without either of those. I mean, obviously I could live without both of them, but I can't see myself wanting to declutter either of these. So this is quite hard. I feel like initially I was thinking about keeping this one because it's just absolutely stunning. And it still is. But then I'm thinking this one has way more unique tones in it for me. The mattes in here are so unique to me. But do I reach for them as often? No, I don't. This is really difficult. I can't decide between the 2. I don't know which one I'm going to go for. Because one second I was like, oh, but I reach for this one more. But then I was like, oh, but this one has such unique tones, and it's super fun, and I don't have anything like it. But I'm already regretting it, but I think I'm gonna go with this one here because I reach for it more often. It has some of my favorite shades, and the quality is just amazing. So is this one. Oh my god, this is so hard. I just have to make a decision. yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna let go of the Club Member palette. Really difficult choice there. And I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing here, but I'm gonna eliminate this one and let the Bronze Seduction palette win. Let's randomize 2 more palettes. We have the Exaggerized Quad from Charlotte Tilbury versus the Child palette from Colourpop. Let me get those. So here we have those 2 palettes. These are both a bit like of smaller palettes. We have a quad and then a 9-pan palette. So, you know, shade-wise, they're not that similar, but they're 2 of the smallest palettes that I still have left in this tournament. So here is the quad. This is the Exaggerized Bigger Brighter Eyes Filter Quad from Charlotte Tilbury. And this is the Child palette from Colourpop. And especially compared to last round, but in general too, this is going to be quite an easy decision for me because I do like this one because it's an easy, no-brainer kind of quad. It's, yeah, I can use to make it like a super easy look with this one, but I absolutely adore the Child palette and I would not let go of this one very easily at all. I think this one is going to go quite far in this tournament. But for me, this is an easy round. I'm going to let go of the quad and keep the Colourpop palettes. We have 4 more rounds to go, so let's go ahead and pick the next 2 palettes. Got the Biba palette from Natasha Denona versus the Merry Christmas palette from Odensai. So here we have those 2 palettes, and this one is quite bright, so we're going to throw off my white balance a little bit, but this is the Biba palette from Natasha Denona. Super stunning, everyday kind of palette. Loads of mattes, a couple of shimmers, but I mainly keep this one for the mattes. And then we have the Merry Christmas palette from Odensai, which looks like this. I'm actually wearing one of the shades today and I hit pan on that one. It's called Little Star. Very exciting. I'm wearing, yeah, like I said, I'm wearing that today and I hit pan on it. So super exciting. But yeah, this is currently a palette that I'm working on in a product level up. When the time this video goes up, I think I might have even rolled this one out yet, or at least I would have had an update. So this one definitely looks a lot different now compared to when I'm filming this. I mean, now as in like now when you're watching it. Anyway, these 2 are the palettes, and again, this is quite a difficult round because I do absolutely adore this palette here. It's so like fun. It has some more colorful shades, some more neutral shades, a big mix of mattes and shimmers, and the shimmers in here are super sparkly and super pretty, and I really like this palette a lot. But this one here is just a really good staple palette, and if I had less palettes in my collection, this is definitely a palette that I would reach for again and again and again in combination with my singles. So it's a hard one. I think like right now, I feel like I would pick this one over it, but I think it's also because this one is quite a new palette to me. It's quite like, it's brand new. It has that excitement still. So overall, I think I'm going to hold on to the Biba because it's more of a, like I said, staple palette and it's very versatile and the quality in here is amazing. And this one is nice. I'm definitely love this palette too, and it is obviously going to be quite difficult when we get into these higher up rounds because these palettes have already beaten 2 palettes, so I do obviously love them a lot. So it's going to be a lot of difficult decisions being made, and this is also going to be one of them, and that is to let go of the Merry Christmas palette and keep the Biba. Let's do 2 more palettes. We are about halfway done now, by the way. We have 3 more rounds to go. We're getting the Glam Face Light from Natasha Denona versus the Love Nose palette from Beauty Bay. So here we have those 2 palettes. We have the Natasha Denona Glam Face palette in the light version. It looks like this. It has some face palettes too, sorry, face kind of shades too, but I obviously count the eyeshadows mainly. Really, really stunning undertones. They're a bit softer, like more romantic as well. Like, I don't know, I just have some like pinkiness to them. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but it's like that warm coziness for me. Really love this one. Then we have this palette here, which is also very romantic. It is obviously called Love Nose, but it has a lot of like pinks, purples, peaches, and some more camely undertoned mattes as well. So both stunning palettes. But for me, again, with this one, it's quite a clear winner, and that's going to be the Natasha Denona face palette. Just because I think these shades are like super good staples. I can make like really, really stunning looks with them. And the shimmers in this palette is super nice. Like it's some of the better ones from Natasha Denona because they're very sparkly, which is something that I like. And this one definitely has some sparkly shades too, but the formula used isn't the same as Natasha Denona, so I'm gonna let the Love Nose palette go and put the Glam face palette forward. So we only have 4 more palettes to go, so we have 2 more rounds, and let's see what the next 2 palettes are going to be. We have the gold palette from Natasha Denona versus the Subculture palette. Okay, let me get those. So here we have those 2 palettes. They're not too dissimilar. They're like those kind of warm, has like some gold and yellowy undertones to them too, but this one definitely has some more like reddier tones as well as like some more olivey greens, whereas this one has some more kind of turquoisey greens, I guess. But yeah, both of these palettes are absolutely stunning. And also, by the way, this is the Subculture palette that I have. It's actually a combination of the Subculture palette and the Jackie Aina palette. I combined all my favorite shades from those 2 palettes and made this one, and I absolutely love this palette now. Then we have my gold palette, which is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I love this palette so much. It's definitely, if not my favorite, definitely one of the highest ones. So both of these palettes have a lot of favorite shades for me. This palette here has some of my favorite shimmers for like more mainstream brands. Same with this one too. This one has like Electric, Sam, Sponsored, that kind of stuff. It has some really good shades, probably some of my favorite shades from Anastasia. And this one has like Lime Chrome, Brass, Kava, some really good shades as well. This is hard, but I already know which one I'm going to keep, and that's going to be the gold palette because I just love this palette so much, and it pains me to eliminate this palette right here. But unfortunately, since it got pitted against one of my favorite palettes, it's an easy choice, even though it's hard. So I'm going to let go of the Subculture palette and hold on to the gold palette. So I already know what 2 palettes are left, but let's just roll for the sake of it. We have the Utopian Dreams, right? Yep. And the Snow Dream palette. Yep. So let me get those last 2 palettes. So here we have those 2 palettes. These are actually very different palettes. We have the Utopian Dreams palette from Pat McGrath. It was my first ever Pat McGrath palette. Really love this palette a lot. It's probably still my favorite Pat McGrath palette. And then here we have the Snow Dreams palette from Odensai. I absolutely love this color story. These type of greens are some of my favorites. It has also those kind of like softer neutrals in it that I also really love. So both really good contenders. But for me, I'm going to have to let the Utopian Dreams palette win just because I absolutely love this color story. It has some of my favorite shades ever, like these special shades right here. Actually, all 4 of them are fantastic. Also, like the mattes in here are stunning. The rest of the shimmers are also stunning, and it's just a beautiful palette. It suits me perfectly. And even though this one is a fun one and it has some gorgeous shades as well, I'm just gonna have to let that one go in comparison to the Utopian Dreams. I just stuck my finger in this shade, by the way, but you can see how stunning that is. It's so stunning. But compared to the Snow Dream palette, this is gonna be an easy win. So that is going to be the last winner for today. So there you guys, there we have it. That was my 3rd round of my Ultimate Palette Battle, the tournament. I don't really know how I'm going to structure the next couple of videos because now we're down to 7 palettes. It's going to go quite quickly. I think in the next video, let me think. It's going to be 3 rounds for next time plus like 1 free kind of get through. Then it's going to be 2 rounds and then just 1. So I might actually wrap this video up, the series up in the next video, because it's going to be 3 plus 2 plus 1 round, I think, right? So it's going to be 7 altogether anyway. So it's going to be the same as this video. So I think next video will be the finale where I go through the remaining 7 palettes and battle those against each other until we ultimately have a winner. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video and the series so far. Not sure when the next video and like the finale of this is going to be up. It's probably going to be in the next coming weeks, maybe like 2 weeks or so. That's usually kind of how I've been spreading it out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said, and I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.